NewGenGamers.com.
It kind of auto saves as you go. There's your Letterman. Now you have a Letterman zombie.
Yep. Gotta collect them all.
Does it work like Pokemon?
Yup.
Just turning everyone into zombies?
Yep, that's the idea.
Zombie Charizard. And as we see again, you can now use other people's arms against them.
Oh, eventually.
Nothing like using limbs as weapons.
Eventually, you're able to. Use your spleen as a grenade. You're able to use your spleen as a grenade eventually.
Grenade spleen.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Isn't it?
Kind of excited about that. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, okay. I did find the official stat for Asia. Now, this is all of Asia, including, I believe, China. The Xbox sold 2 million consoles in Asia. Out of the 24 million it sold.
That's not good.
No. It sold 6 million in Europe, which is pretty decent for having like basically a 4-year life cycle. Now, this had a shortened life cycle, even though it wasn't a failing, so to speak, console. I mean, there were a lot of other consoles that had longer lifespans that sold less consoles. The problem was, as I said before, that this had an NVIDIA chipset, and there was some legal trouble between Microsoft and NVIDIA over the chipset. I think Microsoft thought that they were shorting them on things. So what they ended up doing was they quit producing the chip. And Microsoft had to basically stop production of the Xbox so that the new console could take over that had a different chipset. It was more of a, I believe ATI did the 360. But still, 2 million in all of Asia. That is not a lot.
Yeah, that's not
especially
a lot
for
at all.
something that sold 24 million units.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. But apparently Asia doesn't like zombies.
Well, like, it just didn't have a lot of appeal over there because a lot of the games were kind of based for the American market, which is why it did so ridiculously well over here.
Right.
It sold 16 million over here. Almost more than the GameCube sold overall. Just in America. So it was, as far as the kind of console war between all the competitors went, Microsoft was keeping up pretty well in the US. It's the rest of the world where Sony got them. I mean, Microsoft had a night. They were still getting most of the releases. I mean, Sony had locked up a lot of exclusives during this time.
Oh yeah. And
so, yeah.
They were willing to give the companies making the games extra cash just so they'd stay with exclusively PlayStation.
Yeah. Which is a tactic that Microsoft would adopt in the next generation. They were like, hey, that worked before, let's do that. Well, Luke, do you think we've shown off the Stubbs the Zombie pretty well here?
Yeah, I think we're covered.
Okay. Alright, we're going to move on to a crazy ninja action game.
Alright.
Alright, everybody, we're back. Taking a look at Ninja Gaiden Black. Alright, where would you like to hop in here, Luke? Anywhere, really. We got a few different files for this game. Show off the City of Fiends.
You sure?
Or are you good with the monastery? You want to go with the monastery?
Well, I was thinking I'd get to go take on the giant T-Rex boss.
Oh yeah, that'll be awesome. Yeah, grab that up.
Not that I really want to, but
nonetheless.
I mean, it's a great game and everything, but oh god.
That game is going to kick your...
Kick my ass straight to the roof of my mouth.
Interesting. Oh, the load screens when you start up the episodes kind of give you the whole layout of what's going on and everything.
Indeed-erific they do.
Okay. This particular title was in development for about 5 years. They originally started working on it in about 1999. And they wanted to do it for the next generation consoles. And I believe the idea was really to put it on the Dreamcast. Well, that was the original plan, because they started the development on the Sega arcade boards, the Naomis, which would be Dreamcast architecture. Yeah, they planned to move the development to the Dreamcast, and then Sega abandoned the Dreamcast, and then Tecmo wanted to release Ninja Gaiden as a launch title for the PS2. However, Itagaki's like, no. I'm going to do this my way. And he had seen the dev kit for the original Xbox and was so impressed on it, he had to have it on the Microsoft system. And then when they announced, oh yeah, this game is hard. Just so you know. Ridiculously hard. You will die a lot.
Luke doesn't just fail all willy-nilly,
He's actually pretty good at this game, it's hard. But as I was saying, in E3 2002, they announced that Ninja Gaiden was an Xbox exclusive. Everyone was pretty surprised on that, especially with Tecmo being a pretty big Japanese company, and the failings of the Xbox in Japan, which we had just discussed. So, they took a poll, and most fans actually wanted it on the GameCube, because if you think about it, all the original trilogy of Ninja Gaiden games were on the NES. So there were still a lot of Nintendo fans that wanted Ninja Gaiden. What ended up happening was they kept working on it, and it ended up coming out in 2004. It was in March. It was actually about a year late from when it was supposed to be released. They made it kind of exceptionally violent, which sold well to the American audiences, but ended up getting it censored across the world. They actually had to take out they took out a lot of the beheadings, and all that. He also put in the original version of Ninja Gaiden, not Black, the original 3 NES games. On this version, there's the arcade version of Ninja Gaiden. On Black, they also included the Hurricane packs, which were the expansions that they ran tournaments on. Because the way they did with the online with this game was kind of like time trial runs for the challenges in the Hurricane packs. So they released both the Hurricane packs on the game disc, and and just put it. It's kind of a Game of the Year edition, pretty much.
Yeah.
And Luke is very much into the gameplay here.
Failing miserably.
It's one of those games you kind of have to concentrate on.
And even then, you could...
It sold 1.5 million copies in its initial run. It sold over 350,000 in the U.S. in the first month. Once again, Japan not buying very many of them. And it kind of makes me wonder why it did not work in Japan. Nothing for the Xbox seemed to want to work in Japan very well.
Ah, shit.
What?
Oh, no, wait.
Now, this is, you obviously play as Ryu Hayabusa, or however you would like to pronounce that. And it was also their first, like, third-person action game since the, since kind of the NES stuff, so it was really the first 3D one. Because if you remember the one we played for the PS1, wow, that boss is huge. It was more of like cerebral, with the traps and everything. Tecmo's Deception. Remember that one?
Yes.
Let's take a look at this boss fight. Jesus. As you see, the giant purple bar at the bottom is your boss's health meter. And as we said before, the game is hard.
Just a tad difficult.
Exceptionally hard. Well, while we're here, I think I'll talk a little bit about the history and the kind of the development of the system. There were 4 engineers on Microsoft's DirectX team. We had Ted Hayes, Kevin Bacchus, Seamus Blackley, and Otto Burks. They took apart some Dell computers and they built a prototype to take to Microsoft. The lore and the story is that they showed it to... Everyone was against it until they showed it to Bill Gates. And then once they showed it to Bill Gates, he was 100% in favor of it. He loved the idea of joining the console market. So once Bill Gates gave the okay, then that was it. They were going to go forward with it. But they had someone who was kind of a middleman to get there. Ed Fries. He was the director of Microsoft's game publishing business. So he was in head of the Microsoft game division. And then they pushed their Direct Xbox pretty much to everybody. Fries was the one who kind of put his weight behind them to push it out.
What do you think?
Be the zombie. Indulge your appetite for destruction. Bring civilization to its knees. And live like you're already dead. Stubbs the Zombie and Rebel Without a Pulse. In stores now. Rated M for mature.
Can I wear this home?